My spouse had an affair and I want to know everything they did. I've heard this hundreds of times over the last 40 years in dealing with couples with infidelity. So stay tuned. Let's walk through this conversation. It's very important. If you get to subscribe to our channel, please hit the button. If you have a question, put it in the box and we will get right to it as soon as possible. Infidelity, whether it's porn, affairs, intimacy, anorexia, you've been betrayed by neglect, any of those kind of infidelities are trauma. They throw you back to the very core of your development. The very first stage of human development is trust and mistrust. And it's going to take you back to a place where you're going to choose one of those things. And it's very common. Well, I would say it's not very common. I would say it happens quite a bit, maybe in really more of 10 or 15% of the cases where a man or woman is really obsessed with knowing everything. Generally, they want to know enough to know who, what, when, where, that kind of stuff, when it started, when it stopped, are you still talking to them, that kind of stuff. But there are some people who really lock into this idea of I want to know everything. And based on your personality, my clinical experience, I'm a psychologist, the closer you are to tendencies of control or even OCD, the more you're going to fall towards that camp of wanting to know, was it a pink dress? Or, was he wearing a suit? Whether you're a man or a woman, what hotel was it? What room number was it? What positions did you do? Did you enjoy yourself? Did she say this? Or did he do this? How did that conversation go? And you're not going to ask it once. You're going to ask it again and again. And if you get one nuance of a word different, you're going to have a 3-hour conversation on why they didn't share that with you before. Now, I will say this, that the person who's acting out with other people is in an altered state. Now, altered state learning is different than normal learning. So let me go through that a little bit. If you took a group of students and they had to study for a test, wouldn't even matter what the subject is, and you gave them, say, something like some kind of speed, some kind of stimulant, it would put them in an altered state. So they're studying in an altered state. Then you give them the test. And in one group, they give the stimulant to the students and they take the test. Now they're still in the same altered state because they're on the same stimulant. So how do you think they do? They do fantastic because the information is stored in an altered state. Then you have the students who were given the stimulant to study, but they were not given the stimulant to take the test, and they did poorly because the information was in the altered state. And they would need that to be disconnected to go back to that state. When your husband or your wife or your partner was acting out in fantasy and in this relationship and having sex, their memory of that is going to be pretty choppy because they were in an altered state. And so some information is going to be less available to them. Some of it they're not going to remember. Some of it's going to download maybe even a while down the road. They go, oh my gosh, it really wasn't the married. It was really the Holiday Inn. And especially if they've been with the same person over a significant period of time, a lot of those interludes are going to merge together because they're very similar and they're not going to be able to separate some of that information. But the desire to ask again and again is still not going to go away because of your belief and the meaning you give it. And the meaning is something like this. If I know, I believe I can stop this from happening. I believe I can make myself safe if I have the information. Now, the problem with that idea is it's completely false because you can have every detail, every single detail, and they could go out and do it tonight. Because humans have this thing called free will, and they can do stupid things whenever they want to, no matter how much information you have.